Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late. StreamYard is expensive, and I had to wait and pull some strings trying to pay for this thing to make sure we don't get cut off halfway. Um, we're getting started now. Sorry for the late. It's just, my funds are really low, and this stuff is expensive. So, we're getting started now. I'm bringing up the ladies. You get started. I still got a few things to handle really quick.
Hello, hello.
Quiet but fearless. I put the link in the chat a long time ago.
All right, thank you. Let me close YouTube right quick. I may or may not get to stay. That lightning is like real close. We'll see. Hopefully it stops. I don't like it much. How is everybody tonight? Can y'all hear me? Hello?
Hi, is that you, Julius?
Hey, it's me.
How are
Live and
you?
in color. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm well.
Good. Good. Speak to us, baby.
Oh, golly. I've seen some comments in the chat. Everybody's asking, did you watch Eric's live that just finished a few minutes ago? I think a lot of people
I was
have
listening
watched
to
that.
it. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
listening to it. I left to come here.
yeah. I think it finished. I think it was finished, and I came here. I kept hoping it would get over before we started, but I think it's over now.
And now, were you thinking Runaway Train like I was?
Yeah.
I want to hear everything you have to say, but I need to go.
Oh, are
Hello.
you? Hi, are you leaving, Gee Whiz?
Mima, no, Mima's here.
I'm here.
Okay,
I hear.
Hi,
okay.
guys.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
there
Hey,
she is.
babe.
All
Hi,
right,
Hello.
you feel better
everybody.
now? We're all here.
Hi,
Anyway,
girls.
We missed you.
yes, we did.
I hate
Oh,
when I can't hear your voice.
Right,
oh. Well, I figured I'm better off to hang out in the background because I don't. I didn't even know anything about the Whitakers until we started talking about them. So
right.
then I went to YouTube and I started with that. What is it? White belly something or other.
Software, yeah.
Soft whatever. Anyway, so I went there so I could start from the beginning.
Okay,
And I watched quite a few videos until my eyeballs were turning red.
I hear that.
So then I rested a day and then I got back on and then I thought, screw it. I'm just going to start from the more recent videos because by the time I get through all of the videos on them from the beginning, shit,
Right,
all
I know.
this
I
shit
hear
will be over and who knows where they'll be. So
you.
I don't
Ah,
know enough about them to talk much about them. And
Well,
if I'm
neither
right,
do
in the
I. Neither
seeing
do
if I'm
I.
in the chat, I can talk to everybody because when we're up here
right,
talking, a lot of times the chat's just rolling by and we're not acknowledging anybody. We're not saying anything, and then people feel like, well, they don't care if I'm here or not, they don't even acknowledge me. So
right.
I figured if I was in the chat, I could talk to them while you guys talked about the Whittakers.
Well,
Right.
But
we need extra people reading the chat
Yes.
I mean,
because it's hard when there's only one or two.
I can try to keep up with the chat while you guys talk about the Whittakers. But if you're talking, and there's not much of a break between subjects that you're talking about the Whittakers, you know, then the chat just keeps rolling and rolling, and I'm not even getting a chance to say anything to them. So,
Right.
so
Well, here,
you
babe,
guys
wait a
can
minute. Wait a
what?
minute. Let me just ask the chat. Would you rather listen to Betty up here or would you rather her be in the chat? Answer in the chat.
Yeah, that's good. Did you guys notice my new profile picture?
Yes. Are you a dancer there?
No,
Oh
I'm
my
Bad
goodness.
Betty.
Is
She's
that bad?
bad Betty.
I'm Bad Betty. I'm in my official Bad Betty outfit. I mean, I don't wear that all the time, but
Uh,
if
oh,
I'm
wait,
going
wait, wait.
out,
It's coming in. Fungaliana, Betty on the panel, D, Betty on the panel, TG on the panel, Jenny, whatever's best for her. Um, listen, we love her. Listen to Betty up there on the panel, keep her on the panel. Of course, we want Betty on the panel. Hmm. Hmm. I like Betty on the panel, says Bygone, but it's her choice.
oh,
Betty makes it her show. Oh, well, I disagree with that one. Um, totally.
see, that's another reason that
Well, that's just one
I don't want to
person,
be on the
though.
panel
That's
Oh,
one
shut up.
person. I want Betty
because,
to get me pumpkin ice cream, please and thank you. Love you, girl. Uh, I knew I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea. Hey, everyone. So there were more Betty on the panels than anything else, my darling.
Hey, Betty,
Just say,
I saw you at Publix today buying pumpkin ice cream wearing that outfit, snapping that whip in that store.
well,
we love Betty either way. Betty makes the panel fun and exciting. Love ya. Hmm. Well, Betty's going to have to do what Betty wants to do, but there were more Betty on the panels than Betty nots.
So there.
So there. And if
What are
I
you gonna do
said,
now?
right, Betty, we love you, period. Bad Betty is hilarious. I love her on the panel, especially when she takes her gummies, says Cindy.
She's had
No,
two today, guys.
it takes all of you to make this show. If one is missing, it seems like something is missing, says Walking by Faith. Hmm. Did you just leave, Betty? Betty, where'd you go?
She fell. She
Is
just kind
Susie
of.
Q here?
No, I think Susie's still sick.
Is she?
She can't. Yeah, she's gonna be in the chat. She can't talk. She lost her
Yeah.
voice. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was just wondering where she was. I don't know why I thought I saw her a minute ago, and I'm like, where'd she go? But
Right.
Betty dropped out.
I'm sorry, Betty. I
She'll
don't
be
know why
back.
you dropped out. I
Yeah,
love
she's
you back. I just want people to know that sometimes that things that are said can be hurtful, and some of us are sensitive, though we may not show. But
This is
let's just
yes.
try to be kind. That's all.
Yes.
Anyway,
definitely.
Bad Betty, Susie says, is the heart of the show. Love her laughter. We all do. We all
Yeah.
do. So, anyway, well,
I'm sure she'll be right back.
I hope so.
Right.
I hope so. She might have hit the duck like she likes to do, that duck.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
So, anyway, why don't you tell us what's new in the world of the Whittakers today? I know there were a lot of lives and a lot of different stuff. I didn't get to watch it, but I can read the comments.
Yeah. Are you talking to me, Nima? I'm
Yes.
Yes,
assuming you
I am.
were.
I am. Well,
I don't want to be pretentious and just assume. I want
no,
to.
I'm
Okay. Uh, well, basically, it's kind of like Eric spills the tea and Patrick spills the tea today. I think the animosity towards each other's coming out, and it's not been pretty. All that it's really not been pretty, and I guess it's time for it all to come out. I think everybody has sensed that there have not been on the best of terms in the last few days. So I think that today was the day. I'm going to tell my side of the story, and I'm going to tell you what's been going on. Patrick, I'm trying to remember what he did earlier today. He put out a statement saying that he was going to come on and talk about some things, and it wasn't going to look real good. He posted some sort of a picture and was talking about that he had been trying to call Eric on the phone at one particular day. And I thought it was a pretty confusing message there, and saying that Eric was on the phone talking to BJ at that time. And I think it was confusing. And after I read it, I'm thinking, well, what was the point of this? What was the point of this post? I don't think that it didn't make really good sense to me. And I don't think it was anything, I don't know what he was trying to prove by that at all. I think I remember when she had called Eric and was asking. She had called Eric several times, asking for stuff and whatever. So I'm not sure that that was even anything to put on there like it was a big deal. Eric came on and he had a lot to say, and I truly believe he wants to be very transparent about things. And there's been a lot going on that hasn't been, behind the scenes, things that's been happening. And he told a lot of things about Patrick. I, after listening to the things, he says he has receipts and he can prove everything he's saying. And I think he probably can. I'm not, it was not impressive, the things that he told about Patrick,
What did
that
he
he felt.
say? What did he say?
Okay, I'm just going to try to remember. It's a lot. If I can
Okay.
remember some of the things he said. Number one was that, Patrick contacted him and wanted him to come from Georgia up here, and would he help him with this? And he thinks the reason now is not because that he is very good at getting things done, has a lot of social media contacts, knows how to get the word out, he knows how to start fundraising. And he thinks now it was because Patrick needed someone to give him to be authentic, because Patrick evidently does not have that great of reputation in that area. He has a long rap sheet. Eric pulled it out of his bag, and it's probably 3 inches thick. It's a lot of pages.
Right.
And Patrick, I mean, Eric's, was going back to the beginning. I'm just going to go over some things. They're not going to be in chronological order. Basically, these are just things that Eric says Patrick did that he said I tried. He tried to stop. He said he thought he put a wrench in Patrick's plan because he wanted to be very transparent about things. And I think that Patrick was probably trying to sideline him at every corner. And
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like that Patrick's whole plan was to make money. Eric said that he thought that Patrick did love Timmy in the beginning, and that maybe 5% loved him in the beginning because he was doing some things initially without asking for money, without asking for donations. He said, but towards the end, he said what you saw on camera with Patrick and Timmy was not what was going the way he treated him off camera. I don't know, but he also there was numerous things that Patrick has done, and I'm going to try to tell you about some of those. Okay, Patrick wanted to make merchandise like the T-shirts and sell them. And he told Eric, he said, we won't let anybody know about this. He said, this will just be ours. There's no need for them to know about this, meaning the Whittakers. Patrick said, I told him, no, that's wrong. That's not right. He said, we can't sell merchandise. He said, the money, that would be their money. And Patrick said that, I mean, Eric said that he had a contract with the Whittakers, that he formed the contract with them. He said the contract says that all donations, physical, like gifts, physical gifts, presents, whatever, and all the money that is just donated will go directly to the Whittakers. And that was the reason he was setting up the trust fund with multiple trustees. And Patrick was not happy he was doing that, because that would have made it impossible to siphon funds out, to
Mhm.
misuse those funds. And Eric said, I knew right away I had to do something like that. He said that had to happen. And he said Patrick wouldn't go with him, didn't want anything to do with that trust fund, was pretty negative towards it. He also said that there was money, every gift that came for the Whitakers that came in the mail, it came to Patrick's house, and that Patrick opened everything. And then it went to the Whitakers, and he said the Whitakers were upset about that everything was being opened before it came to him. He did not make accusations that anything was taken, but he did say everything was opened. Also, money that came to Patrick, there is not a lot of accountability for it, according to Eric. Now, do you guys remember when Eric went live, when he was having to extend his stay in the Airbnb? And he went on live, and it was the very first time he ever asked for any donations at all. And he finally just said, okay, that's enough. I've got enough money. I have enough, way over what this costs. Stop donating. I think he had something like $6,000 come in. And he gave Patrick, he said he was going to give what was over the amount of the Airbnb, he was going to give to Patrick for working on Patrick's house. Well, he said that he gave a number, $4,000, and he said I gave that out as as a cookie. He said there's more to that. He said that Eric had $3,000, what money the Whitakers made that month, and that he did not give it to the Whitakers. And Eric said, I kept asking him, you've got to pay them their money. You need to give them their money. Send the money. You give me their money. We have got to get this money, put where it needs to be. You can't just keep their money. And he said that Patrick gave him, I think it was $1,000 of that money. He either gave him 2,000 of it, or and he kept 1,000 and said he would give it to him later. That he never got that money, and he gave it was $1,000 that was collected over the cost of the Airbnb, and he said I gave Patrick $1,000 to buy sheetrock and insulation for his house. And so by keeping the 3,000 there out of that four, which he said he was giving Patrick, that was the 3,000 that he could give back to the Whitakers for the money that he never got back from that Patrick never paid them. He said that before they had got made a lot of money, they were out one day with Timmy, and Patrick said we need to buy Timmy some clothes. And so they went into Beckley, and there's a store there called Buckles and Boot Barn, and a lot of people, that must be a really cool place to shop there. And so Patrick went in, and they all went in there, and there's a video showing this. And Timmy looks. They bought Timmy. Patrick got Timmy an outfit, and he bought himself an outfit, and the bill was $500. And Eric has said, I couldn't believe it. He said, I buy clothes at Walmart, and he said he's spending $500 on these clothes. And Eric said, I had to pay for them, basically. Then they left there and they went to some coffee shop. The coffee was expensive, so Patrick buys coffee there. And then they go to Chick-fil-A. And he buys 12 Chick-fil-A sandwiches, orders 12 Chick-fil-A sandwiches. And Eric says, I'm thinking, what is he going to do? Why did you do that? You couldn't even pay for your clothes. And he says they take him home, and he's thinking, I think he'll probably taking him to the Whittaker's house. He said he took him home, and he never, and probably, I guess he ate him for a week, or I don't know, but things like that. And he said I got started to see really quickly that Patrick was not who people thought he was, or he first thought he was. And then he talked about Patrick. He rented Patrick a Airbnb for a week so that he could get away from his house because it wasn't comfortable there because it's in such disarray. And a lot of people were coming in, and Patrick said, I've just got to get somewhere where I can heal, where I can rest. So Eric said, okay, I'm going to rent you this Airbnb, and you can pay me back whenever we get air. I guess there's social media checks. Eric said, fine, great. So he comes there and he brings those dogs, which he did not have permission to bring. And Eric, uh, it was time to leave, and uh, Patrick left pretty quickly. And because Eric had to find another Airbnb, and this was the time everything was breaking loose at, with over with Betty and stuff. But Patrick said he got a call that night, and the people at the condo, or the Airbnb condo, said, Eric, you need to come up here. And so he went up there, and he said he could not believe what he saw. He said the place was trashed, that there was snuff. You know how people he chews that, is it snuff or something? He's
It's
always
tobacco. Yeah. It's
spitting
yeah. That's tobacco.
tobacco. Okay,
It's chew or whatever they call it.
whatever they call it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's disgusting, but that's just me. Uh,
Yeah. I don't
but
like.
that juice stuff that comes out of it, the spit, I guess, it was all over the sofa. It was all over the bed. He had taken like a vase that flowers were in, taken the flowers out, and they used it as a spittoon. And he said he had half the county there with him, all kinds of people there. And there was diapers all over the floor. There were pills all over the floor. I don't know what kind of pills. There was the dogs had I guess pooped, for better word, all over on the floor. The whole back deck was covered, and the door, he had left the door to the back deck open the whole time. And he said it was just disgusting. The carpet had the tobacco stains. The sofa was just stained. All the pillows on the sofa. It was a nightmare. The food was spoiled. He even took him groceries. Eric said I even stocked it with essentials so that he would have everything he needed there. And he left that condo in that kind of shape. And Eric had to pay for the cleanup bill. It took him 3 days to clean it.
Wow. That's
It
gross.
just sounded nasty.
It must. He has a video. He said I got proof. He said I videoed it. So it must have been pretty disgusting. He said the sink was stopped up with those tobacco, I guess, where they just got finished with it, and they probably just poured
Ew,
that big spittoon thing down the sink in it, which is, he
on the
said it was
ground.
just like, it was sick. It was gross. Dog
That's
poop
just
on the
awful.
walls. It was, sounds horrible. I don't know how you trash a place like that. But your friend, rents that for you, and, pays for it until you can pay him back. And I mean, he asked him to do that for him, and then
Mhm.
puts food in there for you. And you tell him that you just want to come, be quiet, and, be able to rest. And then you have all your friends in there, everything. And he made a video there, and I saw the video. And he had that dog up on top of the stove, that big pit bull dog. And I thought, I wonder why he has the dog on the stove. But I think they just attached the place, basically, is what it sounds like. I mean, who does that? Um,
Somebody
and
that's
he,
mad because he couldn't get no money.
exactly. And it
Greedy.
sounds like he had and he was charging people he had this second channel called Timmy Talks. I saw that channel. An extension of his Facebook page. And you could go on there, I think, and you could pay to talk to Timmy. And there were people on there, men and different people, according to Eric, that were paying. to talk to Timmy. That sounds, that does not sound very nice. I don't know what he really meant by that, but that cannot be, probably not good. But he was doing that, and he never told Eric about that. And Eric said there is a app or something called Cameo. He said if you want to do something like that, that's fine, but you do it on the up and up, because we're going to have to
Right.
report all this income and everything. And I think
Jesus.
this was one of the worst things that he did. Okay, they had an appointment set up for Ray to go back to the orthopedist. Okay, well, Patrick was supposed to take him to that appointment. Instead of going to that appointment, he went to that bluegrass concert, and that's where he got his leg broken.
Huh.
So Ray, that's the reason Ray didn't go to the doctor, is that Patrick went to a concert instead of taking Ray to the doctor. And uh,
Really looking out, huh?
well, yeah. And Eric was really, really upset that he took him to Victoria's Secret, and he was just, going overboard, really, what he was, all the inappropriate things that he was doing in there with the underwear, the mannequins, and, Timmy flipping a bird. He thought that was, I think that Patrick thought that was cute, but a lot of people did not.
Yeah.
And I think those videos just went over the top with a lot of people, and they're saying, "Oh no, this is totally inappropriate." Would you take your 6-year-old and do that?
No.
No. Um, it was just even more things, and I can't remember them all right now, but a lot of it had to do with money. So I think that he got him up here to give him some, because some authenticity, basically, and then Eric saw pretty quick what Patrick's doing. And Eric kind of was like the wrench, and that didn't go over good with Patrick. So
Well, I think
that's
we
a
better
lot, but not
get
even all of it. Okay. So,
get to the chat because I'm sure they're chatty.
oh, I'm sure. Okay, please. And I'm sorry that took so long.
No, that's okay. That's fine. I know the chat's building up. Hang on 1 second though. I was in the other room. I had to put some food away.
That's okay.
Let's see where we are. Hang on.
She
It
Wiz
looks
did.
like she fell down.
I
I
think she
Yeah, it
did.
got real quiet and then she just like dipped out.
Yeah, she went away. You want to read some of the chat?
Yeah, I didn't
I
know where
can't.
she wanted to start. How
Yeah,
about here?
yeah, I can't see it where I'm at, or I would help. I really, it's
No,
like,
no, you're fine. I was kind of waiting on her, and
yeah,
the eyes are a little bit better tonight anyway. So
okay.
hold on,
I'm
let
sure
me
she'll be
see.
back. I'm sure she'll be back. She might be trying to get back in now. So, but go ahead, please read some of the chat if you don't mind.
Right, yes, absolutely. Okay. First of all, please, y'all, can you help us out? Hit that like button. I was looking just a minute ago. We've got 128 people here, um, and maybe 60 likes. So, okay, now that I got that cleared up, and thank you, I appreciate it. Anthony 421. He says, but surely Eric isn't one he from the beginning was in this for monetary gain. And then Brooklyn Head says that's reverse psychology. A lot of people are asking to hit that like button. Sorry, I'm just going to skip on past Anthony. You can't just believe everything told on the internet. So, Anthony, maybe you could kind of really fully state, I think you were in the chat last night too, but if you'd really just like put your whole reason to have this feeling so we can understand it, okay? Kristen says Eric knows more than he's letting it be known. He knew more about Patrick early on, yet didn't share until the poop hit the fan. Both
Well,
opportunists, in her
yeah.
opinion.
Well, I think
Go ahead.
Eric probably, he said he got into it and it was too deep in public at that time, and he was hoping that he would turn around, and he said I had to do, try to keep it as straight as he could at that time.
Right,
Just went out. Okay. Yeah,
right. No, it's just, it's a sad situation.
it
And,
is.
Eric's not the first one to come in there and help. And it be a disappointment like this is.
Right.
Um, so Brooklyn Head says, nope, they donated $40,000 for his house. Katie says there's way more money they've made off that family.
Sorry, I'm
And
back.
no, I saw you dip out.
I'm like,
I'm at 9:05. Hey, Funky, what's up? You looking at me?
Funky was looking at somebody.
I
He sure
thought I saw
was.
him.
You're at. Hang on, let me see where you were. Let me
I'm
see
at
where you were.
9:05, Brooklyn Head.
That's what got me in trouble. Was
What?
going here and to the comment because I can't go to. I'm at 9:15, so because I came
Okay,
in
go.
late.
You're fine.
Anthony said anyone could have called, but I believe Eric said he took Timmy there. And Kelly says Eric said the trust money is in his possession and he told the state about it. State will take it toward expenses for RL and T. Fernand says, David, right? Anthony says, and I'm sure a lot of folks did call also. Kitty says, he did, Anthony. Ellie says, I think Patrick's page with the pinned comment on every past post shows who is in it for the money. Everyone's saying, let me in. David, I wondered the same thing, said Lighthouse Girl. Party in the chat, says Anthony 21. Let's see. Katie says the state knew of the living conditions of the Whittakers. And David says, anytime state gets involved, can't ever get rid of them poking around. Susie says, Bad Betty, please come back. Harley Kitten says, called APS. Should have been done years ago. The local government has been watching the videos. They stepped in, but should have done it years ago. Funky, are you sending me the fat shot ads again, says Kathy. Ellie says, pin comment advertising that you can pay for him to make you a special video. Oh.
A videogram.
Ooh. Fernand says, Katie, why did it take so long to take action? Katie says, Patrick and Eric should have protected this family better. The locals are very upset with him. Annette says, Funky, we never heard the surprise. Kelly says, David, I agree, but in this case, it might be the right thing to do for them to get services they need. Kitty says Eric went in blind. Once he found out the real deal, he bailed. Katie, I'm thinking it's not uncommon poor living conditions in that area. Like and subscribe, says Kathy. Anthony says, no, I'm new and you can't trust just anything said online. What I'm saying, people have been posting about Patrick's background since the beginning and they deleted the comments. What do you think about that? So I can take a break for a minute.
I, you know what? I'm gonna let Quiet take that one.
Okay, people, they were saying that people deleted the comments that they had made about Eric's background. Was that the statement?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe they just got afraid that they shouldn't have put that out there, or maybe they did. Maybe they were just running their mouths. I don't know
Okay.
why people delete stuff. Maybe they did it and they thought better about it. But they, from what, if there's way too many people saying things for there not to be some fire behind that.
Harley Kitten says Eric has been making thousands in super chats. He's using the family. Then, when Patrick kicked him to the curb, he called APS. Eric is a major scammer. Kitty Lover says, Betty, where are you?
Mhm.
Diane Frank, Joe Don, says, Harley, aren't you Patrick's daughter? And Kitty Lover says, Harley, he sure is. Is that true there? Quiet?
It may be. He does have I think he does have a daughter named Haley or Harley. And if you're here, come up on the panel. We would love to hear what you have to say. Um, we're here
Wanna
to
start on the
all opinions are respected. You know, please come up. We would cordially invite you to.
Okay. Jerry D. It was because of the Poe being dropped, PO, that Betty told the courts that BJ had beat Ray and hit Timmy, and so had BJ's boyfriends. You can hear it being talked about in the ring camera video of them. Ellie says, right, Annette? That's the reason I'm here. Funky promise, dance, and surprise. Anthony 421 says, curious to the amount donated just tonight alone. What do you mean? To here or with their channel? Anthony, I don't know what you're talking about. Jerry D says, taking Timmy. Brooklyn says, Kitty, he didn't go in blind. He had full intentions on making a killing and money. We all know. David says, sadly, splitting them up could hurt them more emotionally and impact their health even worse. Walking by Faith says, I think Eric and Patrick should have known that if they were going to get the law involved, they were going to see the living conditions and do something about it. Now they are broken up. Brooklyn says, Anthony, in 2 months, with all the funds coming in, they made $200K. What do you think? Should we stop or go on? Okay.
Oh, I just want to add one thing right here, okay? Um, I just thought about it. During when Eric was on his live, he did he told something that I don't think has been brought out in light yet. He said that Patrick was approached by two uh, executives or business owners, wealthy people
Mm-hmm.
who had been kind of following this story, and that they wanted to build and pay for the Whittaker's house. That they would take the whole expense of it, and they would pay for it. And Eric found out about it.
Uh-huh.
And what had happened was Patrick, they wanted to know about the trust. They wanted to know how they could, of course, they're businessmen and they're going to want to know, what kind of financial systems are set up, where their money's going to go. And Eric said, no, there's no point to get, I mean, Patrick said there's no point to get Eric involved. He's just going to he's just going to be trouble with it. He's just going to, put roadblocks up for us. He said, just send the money to me. And evidently that did not pan out well with the investors or the people who wanted to pay for their house. And it didn't happen. Now, that's Eric's story. I don't know, but that was surprising to me.
Also was found out Patrick was using FaceTime or some app to make money off. I am honestly glad APS stepped in because Lorraine, Timmy, and Ray need to live humanely and away from the manipulation. It's enough, says Kristen. Um, Harley says, look, giving the family a house is a temporary fix. They live like this for years. They would have trashed the new house in 6 months or less. Brooklyn says, yep, Kitty, it was probably in their plans. I knew Eric and Pat were bad for him beginning when they blocked me for asking about transparency on my donations. Anthony says, it's sad, but you can bet wherever the three are, they cleaned and cloth fed and warm. D says, anyone old enough to remember in the 70s that group was found in the Amazon and everyone got upset when authorities went in to civilize them? And that's what this situation reminds me of. Yeah, the problem with that group in the 70s in the Amazon is that they brought in all the sicknesses that the people from the outside had to the inside, and half those people ended up dying
I remember that.
because
Yep.
they didn't have any immunities to anything that the outside people did. That's why there's a group that's still in the Amazon that they don't touch because they learned from that mistake. Um, Katie says, but the state had no choice, Like Eric and Patrick broadcasted everything about the Whittakers. The family isn't even competent to make any decisions. Kitty says, I'm saying if I'm coming from another state to work with someone to help family, I'd have done my research on said partner. And the first time I saw Miss Deeds, that would have been it. Raven Graham knew. I live 15 minutes from the Whittakers, and they should have been left alone off social media. As a local, I'm highly upset because they live fine without being put on social media for years, and now look at it. Something to be said. Tony said, "In investors want to get involved, they're wanting that land." Yeah, I kind of think that might be something. Mitch says that is so sad. Maybe those investors would pay for a group home nonprofit for Betty, Lorraine, Ray, and Timmy.
Um, I used the term investor, and maybe I shouldn't have. I it Eric said that it was two wealthy businessmen, like executives from
Mhm.
some probably. He didn't say the name of the company, but it may be a fairly well-known company.
Well,
So
normally when
investors,
people like that go in, they have an ulterior motive, believe me.
Developers. Would that be a
What?
better word? Developers?
Yeah, developers. Land.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Anthony
said,
said, oh, go on. Go on.
he said two wealthy businessmen and executives. So, you know, it, I used the term investors just for that lack of a better word, which was probably not the best word for me to have used. So I do not know if they were, it, just like the Whittakers liked what they were doing and wanted to step in, and they have a lot of money and they wanted to pay for the house. That's what it sounded like. But
Right.
they could have had ulterior motives. I don't know.
Right. Anthony 421. I've never been married, but no way in hell is someone leaving their wife and family hours away, weeks at a time, to help another family unless monetary gain.
Can I jump in and say something?
Sure.
I know a lot of people that wear uniforms for places like the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, and the Marines that leave their family for months.
Right. That is
That
absolutely true.
that's it. Okay.
Uh, Jerry D says you can hear them talking about the PO being dropped in. Oh, I read that. Sorry. Um, in a
Another interesting bit of information too that was shared today. Betty was offered, even though that court date was missed and that PO, the protective order was struck, she was offered three other times and asked, "Do you want this back?" And she said no. She was asked before they came out to pick up or remove Timmy, Ray, and uh, Lorraine. Prior to them leaving to come there, they called her and they asked her, "Are you sure you do not want us to put this protective order in?" And she still refused. And so they said they had no choice but to come get them.
Bob Apple says, I have an inkling something was off from day one when Eric was getting visibly frustrated with Patrick on live. Eric doing all the talking and Patrick just sitting there. Kristen said, would this even come to life if shit didn't hit the fan? Like Eric should have been trusted to his gut after Betty got that restraining order and Larry was disgruntled and he didn't feel right going to the Amish. Jerry says when they showed up to take Timmy, Ray, and Lorraine, they asked Betty 3 times before they stepped in to take them.
That's correct.
Brooklyn said, understand that Eric lies a lot. Remember, he wanted them to have a shower. Then a builder said he'll do it for free the next day until they get their house. Where's that building with the shower? Lies. Lily Lynn says Betty getting paid extra for caregiver. She knew Lorraine and Ray sitting in urine and poop. She made sure she was clean. She knew better. Um,
And that's a good point. She and Larry are not, their personal cleanliness is evidently, when you look at them, they're usually clean, but Ray was not. And I don't know how, I mean, Lorraine, I'm not sure. And I know that Timmy, he was not clean all the time. His clothes were not. So, yeah, she did kind of do better for herself. And she did allow that for them to be in that condition.
right,
So,
let's see. Um, hang on. Regarding the business owners, they might have had some interest in owning the land. It's the names of the deceased parents. Probate never indicated to change ownership to living family.
last night in the chat, someone brought up an excellent point about that probate, why it may not have been pursued, and that land is still in the parents' names. Is that if those parents had any, like if they had to have care when they were receiving services from Medicaid, which would have been paying for, like maybe they had to go to a care home or something, that once that land is, if they die, then that land has to be sold, or the family has to come up and pay Medicaid
Right,
back.
right.
And I know in my state it's the very same way. So
Uh-huh.
maybe they decided just to leave the land there because nobody had money to pay Medicaid back. And if they didn't probate the will, the land just stayed there.
Right.
That's
Probably.
probably what happened.
Probably. Anthony 421. I agree. Nobody's leaving home. But wait, who even knows he has a wife and kids. Can't believe anything these days. I can tell you that today. That's true. Um, Bob says, my guess is they were affiliated with some entertainment outlets and wanted to pitch the Whittakers as a reality TV show. It's possible. Raven says, I think Patrick and Eric are both dirty, and this is no offense. Anthony says, shit was weird when whoever it was in the underwater short or Timmy sitting on Patrick's lap. So many weird things taking him to Victoria's Secret. Um, Annette says, Jerry D, exactly. It's sad how things went down, but it was inevitable that the state be involved. The abuse, the exploitation needed to stop, and the house has absolutely no hygienic conditions. Lighthouse says, does anyone know how Timmy, his mom, and Ray are doing? Question? Answer?
According to Eric tonight, he has not heard anything. He has not. Um, he has had no contact with them, and they're probably not going to say anything, and they're probably not going to let the family visit them for a while because they're going to be going under. They're going to be doing forensic interviews, and they're going to be, assessing them, to for their health and for a while. So it may be a while until they're placed, or you know, at least a few days before they let the family come and see them.
Now,
And
did I see a video? I thought I saw a video with Betty in it, and they had been taken. Was she in the
yes,
video yesterday?
she was with Patrick. He had her and Kenny. They were all
Okay,
seated on a sofa,
and she
and
was
Betty,
crying a
but
lot.
yeah, she was real upset. And she was, you know, of course she was upset that they came and got them, and she knew. I mean, Betty knows more, I think, than what she's saying. She was upset, and I felt my heart went out to her. But at the same time, she sits there and she says, they said that they were beat, and she said they've never been beat on. She said that.
Oh
And
wow.
then she's the person that told APS and told the people at the magistrate's office that she was afraid of BJ and that
Hmm.
BJ had hit Timmy in the head with a shoe. Timmy even said she hit him in the head with a shoe.
Right.
And
So
she
now she's
also,
turning around and saying
yeah,
the opposite. Yeah.
yeah, and BJ's boyfriends, she had two, and one beat Ray up, and the other one had Timmy down on the ground, hitting him with his fist. And they said Ray was beaten terribly. So there was, to me, that no matter all the other stuff, the abuse of those of those two people, they can't fight back and they can't tell anybody. They are special needs. They're vulnerable. It doesn't matter anything else. That's abuse, and it was not reported. I can't get past that.
Right.
So when it comes around to it, you cannot allow abuse. If you know about it, they cannot leave those people in that house.
Dee says, I heard Betty disappeared. A rumor I heard was she's hiding so not to go to jail for abuse of disabled 3 times. It's a rumor. Not sure if any of this is true.
Eric said that right before the live ended. He said he'd gotten a message that said Betty is missing, and he said I got to check this out. He did seem very concerned, but it could have been a troll. It could just be somebody, and I haven't heard what that person in the chat just said. So that's interesting. Interesting.
Rob says Betty can't even clean up Ray and the dog poop, but yet you trust her with the court date. Larry can't even put tablets in a toilet, and you trust him with the court date. Makes no sense. David says, why did Eric not call protective services earlier and not when everything fell apart?
Well, actually, he did when he went and he was trying to get the protective orders. He went on two different occasions. He took Larry with him the first day, and Larry wouldn't do anything when he got there. The second time he took Lorraine, and she told everything that they still said they wouldn't give them the protective order. So Eric said that at that point he didn't know what else to do. He had to get somebody, had to tell somebody. So he went to APS and he took Timmy with him. And he said, he didn't want to go there, but he had no choice because of the abuse that had occurred and it was not reported. So, I mean, I guess that when they found out about the abuse, I guess he went as soon as he could.
Mhm. And that says wherever they are allowed visitors. Someone should inquire and investigate, and we'd all learn more about how they're doing, what's going on. Anthony said, Eric's gotta have Betty's number. Why hasn't he reached out to see he could find out any information? David says they should keep all the creators away after this disaster. Um, Kaleidoscope says Betty is in the hospital. Ooh. Katie says in state custody, nobody will know anything for a while. Anthony says, right, should have he have gone home to his wife now? He's how's he paying for this grooming stuff? Oh wait, he must have got thousands in donations tonight alone. Camper Venatic 1972. On Eric's live tonight, people in the chat kept telling him to turn off Super Chat. He didn't tell people to stop donating until 2 hours in, but he never shut off Super Chat. Kaleidoscope, where did that information come from? Anna Gabriel says. Jerry says, David, when Betty told Eric the courts that BJ had beat Ray and Timothy plus her boyfriends, he contacted APS with Tummy telling apps what had happened in Timmy's words of Eric told APS that there is a 1/22. I don't know what that means. Um, Camper, of course not. This is all an income since day one. Why do you think he kept swearing that everything will be transparent and all, but never happens? Actually, dumb scammers. Kaleidoscope says Eric turned off alive, and then people told me which hospital she was in. Someone in the chat mentioned the money, but Eric just smiled and said monetization. So I guess that means that's not considered donations to him. Kaleidoscope said that is what I heard. Jerry D says 2 told APS that Betty did a PO order and BJ was arrested. Once Betty dropped that order is when APS stepped in. Uh, Lighthouse Ministries, where, says Annette Gabriel. Lighthouse says they got denied both times. Who is John? Deb, did you all know John? Did you know you can go to the West Virginia Judiciary and see the things about Patrick concerning court cases? David, okay, go on.
Mima, you're coming in and out a little bit.
Am
I'm
I?
having, yeah, we're having trouble hearing you.
Okay. I was fighting with the chihuahua on my body, so that might have been it.
Okay.
I'm
So,
talking about the beginning of living conditions were so awful to begin with, besides the abuse. Raven says if Timmy, Lorraine, and Ray is at a bar, H psych hospital. Uh oh, wait a minute. I lost.
That's where Patrick said they were being taken yesterday in his live.
They could be there until they find placement for them. They won't tell anybody any information about them either. I've been in Bar H.
And that
Hospital.
make yeah,
Um,
it makes sense that they took them to that top facility because they can, you know, close off any contact from the outside until they are evaluated, and they'll be protected there. And they probably won't tell the family anything about them right now.
okay. No. Then he says, if you Google John Patrick Wark, I believe there's a Reddit post, and people have been saying about his background for a while. Katie says the family needs an attorney ASAP, but who knows where all the money is or where it went. Twana says, I believe the assessment will be a very lengthy one due to the three of them being nonverbal. It's going to be extremely difficult. Katie says, if BJ didn't physically harm to any of them, she will be charged. That is a fact.
I'm questioning this as well. You know, could Betty be charged? Could Larry be charged? Because they are cognizant. They do know what's going on. And if they knew about that and they are their kind of caregivers in the home, because, you know, they're in charge of the money, so therefore they're their caregivers. Could they face charges?
I think
Does
it's
anybody know?
yeah, I think it's highly possible.
I
Um,
kind of think it is too. And, they could be in a heck of a lot of trouble.
Anna says, some of you are delusional. Eric can and will prove he's not using any money he isn't entitled to for this exact reason. Patrick won't be able to say the same. John says, if they built that house, that would have been super premium content that would have generated tons of money. All they needed was a decent used double wide trailer with handicap access. And Kelly says the fact that Patrick trashed the condo, he asked Eric to rent for him. I'm Team Eric. Seriously, Eric got the short stick all the way around. Anthony says, yes, there is a Reddit on Google about John Patrick Rourke and not trusting this, and his background comes up immediately. Just Googling his name. Eric knew all along. There's no way he didn't know. Let's see. I think I'm at the end, pretty much. Let me see. Betty probably has the cognition of a 12-year-old, honestly, says John. Ellie Mae, Bad Betty, please come back. We have been missing you. Um, Kaleidoscope says, I doubt that kinda Eric is suspicious, but maybe he meant well, but didn't do enough research.
I
Stony,
tend, yeah, I tend to agree with that comment.
mhm.
I, I don't, I think Eric may have put more trust in Patrick and was of the mindset, maybe he's changed, gave him a real good benefit of the doubt, which sadly, if he did that, uh, I'm sure he's regretting that now.
Stony said, homes cost 200K there. Wouldn't be much to buy a home down the road. Uh, Doobs8 says, where's the receipts? And Charlene says, John B. Yes from the ground up. Keep it simple. And Kathy says, like, comment, and subscribe, please. Let's see. Kathy said her internet glitched out. Um, Camper Fanatic says, keep talking about building the house. The three are gone for good. Not going to happen. Or kept talking about building the house, not keep. Raven says, Patrick was accused years ago for supposedly pew pew at first responders. Him and I think his ex wife. Hmm.
I've seen that.
Have you-
That's true. Yeah. I don't think that they were had any. I don't think that it went. I'm not sure that he got in. They got any like punishment for it. I'm not sure exactly what happened with it, but they did. That's true.
Carol C said earlier, I love you, Bad Betty. You have an awesome personality. I really miss you when you're not on. And I agree. Totally. 100.
I'm just kind of curious, maybe what everybody thinks, but I don't think that they will return the three that were taken. I don't think that they will return them to that house. I don't think that's even going to happen ever. And I'm wondering if the county won't come in now and condemn that property because they're aware that that sewage is leaking into that creek and the house is in horrible condition for anybody to live there. People say, well, they were doing fine and whatever. If if living in those conditions is fine, it's not fine for handicapped people to live in those conditions when they can't do anything about it.
Well,
And
just
yes,
the fact that Ray was living in his own piss and shit every day and no one was doing anything about it.
right. And Betty may not be, the smartest person in the world, but she's smart enough to get by. And she is managing things. But I think that she has enough intelligence to know that that people shouldn't be beating on people because she said she was scared of BJ herself, and actually BJ has hit her.
Right. And here's the
You
thing,
know,
they had $100,000 before.
yeah, they
They
had more
could
than
have,
that.
right.
Yeah,
They could have put in another house, even if it's a modular house, whatever, and helped those people out that way and kept the money and kept them together and got them the help they needed. But it just seems like everyone who goes in there has this agenda and they're not helping them. Bringing them bags of chips and coloring books and whatever, I don't think is helping myself.
well, I think that the Whitakers themselves put up a lot of roadblocks for people trying to help them.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think they
sure.
love. I think they love the being social. I think that they love getting things. But when it comes to changing the way they live, I think they're resistant, even though they say, I want this, I want this. And that's hard. It's hard to deal, because a lot of people are not used to the culture that's there. And I know that, I mean, you can look at that in so many different ways. But the bottom line to me is when there's abuse of people who cannot defend themselves, that's the line that can't be allowed to happen.
Lunar says, so is Betty in the hospital? Um,
I wonder where everybody's hearing that from. Has there been something posted, or where's that information coming from?
came out at the end of Eric's live or something. They were saying, I don't
Oh,
think anyone knows if Betty is in the hospital, says Anthony. And Camper says, I got creepy vibes from Patrick from day one, but Eric, I wasn't sure, but was suspicious of him. Um, let's see. Chris, I highly doubt that APS workers would give Eric that much information about the case. I doubt it too. They have laws and rules against that would prevent them from sharing any protective case with outside parties. Yeah, there's HIPAA laws for their health, there's all sorts of other stuff. And if he's not a family member, and it just seems odd to me.
Hmm.
Um,
well, he. there was something said tonight that when APS come to take them away, they told Betty, "We have no choice. We've had over 60 phone calls this month."
Oh wow. Well, let's see. Oops. Hang on. Um, like someone stated today, Betty and Larry were always clean. They know what cleanliness is, says Dee. Raven says Raleigh County Sheriff's is dirty. They won't do anything about stuff around here, Ellie. They're just as bad. Camper Fanatic says Eric is very mistaken about how much say he has regarding the Whittakers. A bit delusional. Um, Anthony says his ex was the one who pulled the gun, but he was also charged and allegedly recent pled guilty to sexual assault. But as you said, you can go back and look up anyone's docket with a little information. Um,
In that chat tonight on Eric's Live, there were a lot of comments that Patrick had said that he needed $3,500 to get Timmy. And it was over and over. People were saying they had heard that. Does anybody know where that, did anybody else in the chat hear that or know anything about that?
I don't know. Lighthouse Girl, whose land is Kenny on? It's beside the homestead. Where is water coming from? Where does his sewage go? Kelly says, I don't think they will be returned to the home either. Hopefully, they can all get to a better place. Dee says, I'm surprised there's absolutely nothing in the news of these events. No paper outlets, TV, nothing. I find that weird. Eric has a post 36 minutes ago saying the person that texted him saying Betty was missing now told him Betty has been found. And let's see. Jerry says it was the store that showed up, not the county, I thought. Chris said it wasn't sexual assault. Chris or TG says all they had to do was walk to the creek and see that pipe. Jerry says, I know abuse on mentally and physically disabled is a felony. Chris says, Chicago. They would have to leave the office and go walk down the creek, which is not something a caseworker isn't going to do. Diane Frank Jonan says, Rick said on his live he was saying he's staying until he hears about Lorraine, Ray, and Timmy. Stony, I saw that in the chat, but there is no way Patrick can get guardianship of Timmy.
Okay, I'm just reading Eric's post, and he says that he's not sticking around for this internet debacle. It's out of control. And he says that he is, I'm looking forward to going back to Georgia and living a normal life, as much of a normal life as I can. I just hate that it all turned out this way. Please leave them alone. If I knew what I know now, I would have never agreed to get involved. And he goes on, but it says some more things. But basically, I don't know when he's going back to Georgia, but he says he's going home.
I don't blame him.
I don't either, but he's got to feel some kind of responsibility for what happened in the
Oh, I
sense
think
that he made the calls.
I think he just feels horrible about it because, everything, he was just ready, this was going to happen. And I think he feels hurt. I think he feels like, you know, betrayed a little bit. And I think he's got himself into something that he never wanted. How do you get out of this? Accusations are flying here and there. And I'm
Mhm.
sure that he is just like, it's not easy being him right now.
No, I bet not.
No.
Says West Virginia likes to keep things quiet. They are only interviewing now because of all the recent social media attention. Um, let's see. Chicago says, and why wasn't APS out there when the calls started coming in? They waited for 60 calls? Yeah, really.
Well, yeah, good point, TG. I've said all along, APS dropped the ball on these people a long time ago.
Mhm.
They should have probably already been removed from that home a long time ago. They can say, well, we just wanted to keep them together because we knew they couldn't survive without each other. I have to disagree with that. They probably would survive better if they lived if they had, proper care, cleanliness, and I know they love each other,
Right,
but APS has not done their job. And suddenly, when all the limelight is on them, I am sure that they got a phone call from someone in the in state, in human health services main place there, saying you better get something done about these people because they don't want that kind of attention. That is not what the kind of attention that any agency wants put on them. So they had no choice but to come out and remove them this time. They had to do something. But in my opinion, this heroic movement, I'm glad it finally happened. But APS is guilty of those people being left like that for a long, long time. They have not done their job, and they need to be called out for that. They need to be investigated as to why nothing has been done.
Camper Fanatic says, I think you're realizing people see through his BS. Honestly, Jay says, well, everything is right now and he's going. Funky has made six figures himself. Havasu Brat, the Whitakers ask for their help. Their fault, he's blaming everyone. Um, time next truck, more tools, money coming, 2 months solid. Chris says Patrick's last conviction was for non consensual disclosure of private, intimate images. Ew. Funky said, if you would like to talk and speak on this, click on this link and come up.
Mima, you're breaking up again. It's hard to you're
Okay,
coming in and
sorry.
out.
I have to hold the phone a little bit far back because I can't see it close up.
Huh.
So that's what it is. My eyes adjust better further away than close up. Um,
Me and you both.
I know. Havasu brought. If the house was full of feces, why didn't he take Lorraine and Ray too? Dee says Eric is shutting down his end of the madness. All of this before it tarnishes his daddy talk channel persona. Anthony, gotta get my son up and DC off to school in the AM. And I have dialysis in the morning. Good night, folks. Was fun. Good night.
Good
Uh,
night.
Mrs. Matt. Eric is largely responsible for this. I believe a lot of his actions were driven by spite. When he and BJ in the trailer, at the end of the day, he can't even tell them what family to have there. Anna says, exactly. Everybody is saying they depended on each other. No, Ray, Lorraine, and Timmy depended on Betty to keep them safe and clean, and that didn't happen. Kitty says, sure were, Mrs. Murphy. Now he leaves and the family is torn apart. Um, TG Chicago says, I heard APS had been out there before. Wow.
That makes it even worse if they've been up there before. It's
Yeah,
how
exactly.
they see it. The APS did not do their job, and, and bottom line, Eric didn't get the family torn apart, in my opinion, because Eric only reported the abuse that was going on. which anybody should have reported the abuse that's going on. If we know that somebody is being abused, more so if it is a vulnerable individual who cannot speak, who cannot defend themselves, and has no independence, and we don't report that, we're complicit too. So Eric, he did the right thing by going to the. Nobody would do a POV, do a protective order. So where else was he to go? Um,
True.
I disagree that Eric tore the family apart. Eric probably he did the right thing.
Yes.
Havasu says, if the house was full of feces, why didn't he take Lorraine and Ray too?
Okay, that's another thing. How could Eric possibly take care of Ray, Lorraine, and Timmy? I couldn't take care of Ray, and I'm qualified to take care of Ray. I could not take care of Ray by myself. That's a full-time job. And
Mm-hmm.
Lorraine he has to have a lot of help too. He couldn't bathe Lorraine. I mean, why didn't he take them? I'm sure he could have, but what was he going to do with them? He's there. How could he take care of them? He could take care of Timmy because Timmy's more independent and understands better. But and I'm not trying to be ugly or anything. I'm just looking at reality. He couldn't have managed them. He couldn't have done that on his own.
Havasu says, he favored Timmy and left Ray and Lorraine. This was all about money and brought views. So that was disagreeing with her point right there. But
Yeah, well,
Denise says, APS told Patrick things had changed when BJ came back. That's why they took them, because BJ came back and Betty didn't want the protection order. They had no choice. Funky says, come on up to StreamYard. Does someone else want to come up?
yes, please, somebody come up on the panel. I mean, it would be great if some of you guys in the chat came up.
Like talking on the phone. It's very easy. Um, and it's new blood. And we like to have new people on the panel. So somebody come up.
Yeah,
Make use of your direct.
especially some of you guys in the chat who live in that area. You could just you could just give us so much, perspective, on on how things are there because it is a different mindset sometimes, no matter, the different areas in the country that we all live in. Um, it would be amazing if someone from the area could come up on the panel.
Please.
Please.
Mrs. Matt Murphy, how long have they lived there? Now their world is torn apart. And I feel really sad for the Whittakers. Change of some kind is good and needed, however. JJ says, what makes this right? Could you go to your neighbors and say, live this way? I will help you change? Depends on the neighbors.
Yep.
And if they're open to it. And neighbors today are different than neighbors 20 years ago. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Even 10 years ago. Ray's need was priority over everything, not chips and Burger King and bowling. Yep. Um, TG says they've been there all their lives. Bad Betty, check your messages, please, says Kathy. Lunar Wolf, supposedly they're pressing charges against Patrick. Kitty Lover says Betty comes from this family too. I think Betty is getting too much flack. Imagine trying to take care of Ray Ray. I feel for Betty. They are not functioning at a normal level. To take all three would require several caregivers, says Ellie Mae. Eric could not properly care for all three. Um, Bad Betty, are you okay, sweetheart? I'm concerned about you. I love you so much, says Fern Ann. Bad Betty, you better come back and just make a showing because people are worried about you. Chris Cloud, keep in mind Eric has no contact with his older child or children, which is why he started the dad talk thing. Um, oh, really?
Yeah, he went through a lot with his ex-wife and his not being able, I think, to see his children. I haven't really followed his channel. Uh, I just know about it,
Mm-hmm.
but that's why he started the channel. And he's been doing this for a long, long time, So he's not somebody that just popped up yesterday on YouTube. So
Havasu says apparently 1,200 YouTubers called Adult Protective Services. Eric knew it was the end of the road. Ellie says, thank you, Quiet. I'm a retired RN, and no way I would ever be able to take care of all three.
you're exactly right. There's no way. And I'm speaking because I know I don't always say what my job is or what I do, but there is no way that a nurse, a highly trained nurse, could manage that on her own. You would have to have at least three people, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
more, to manage those three individuals on a 24-hour basis. And certainly not in that home they were in. And you would need, the proper equipment. It would. There's no way that Eric could have even. Oh, he could not have managed that on his own. No way.
Um, Eric is a content creator, but now he's always going to get questions about the Whittakers. It's what he will be known for, and he will have a hard time walking away from it, says Bob. Their lives have changed forever. I doubt they will ever be back in odds, says Mrs. Matt. Stoney, as a caregiver, there would need to be at least two people with Ray. Absolutely. At least.
Yes.
Yeah.
Funky
And
says, click the link and come on up. We need some people to come up. This is Matt Murphy. Come on up.
and
We.
with Ray, Ray has not been to the doctor. According to Eric, when they took him, Eric got him a doctor's appointment. Patrick said, "Oh, that's just not easy to do up here in West Virginia," and he wasn't really. He was supposed to get him an appointment, and he didn't. Eric came up and talked to a doctor and got him in the next day. And the office staff there, they were so good to him, and they were going to get things arranged to get him to an actual orthopedist that, because he's got other problems other than his knee, and they're probably genetic. Um, but Ray has not been managed on any medications, evidently. And if he is in a psych unit right now, they're going to look at what kind of medications that he might need. And that's not to say they're going to dope him up and whatever, but there are medications that may make his behavior be so much better. And it may be a blessing for him to, if there are medications that can help him function better.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know that he's on any type of medications. And most people who have a condition like him, they do take things that does help their behavior and help them function better.
Mm-hmm.
All right. A few things. We have 121 people in here and only 76 likes. So I'm not going to read any more until we get more likes up because that's crazy. Second thing, we need some of you new people to come on up. Havasu Brat, people that keep talking, Bob Apples. We need one of you. Stony, come on up to the chat. Kaleidoscope, you're another one who keeps talking with good information. Moni, please, somebody come on up to the chat and give us a different perspective. We'd really appreciate it. So, that being said, until I see the likes moving, I'm tired of reading. So,
Well, I'm not going to read either.
Well, I
and
can't see the chat, so I definitely can't read.
So we'll just wait.
we'll just wait because there's 122 people here. It's it's not easy to read the chat. you may think it is, but it's not because it keeps moving
Friend,
and it's small and our eyes are old. We're old people and the
Speak for
tired.
yourself, Mima.
Okay, I'm an old person.
You're only
uh,
old in your mind. You're only your only age is irrelevant. You can be whatever age you want to be.
But
state of mind.
seriously, somebody come on up. Give us your perspective. Talk to us. It's like talking on the phone. It's not anything other than talking on the phone. You're just speaking. You're not seeing anybody. Nobody's seeing you. You don't have to be dressed up or nothing.
Give your fingers a rest.
We're only at 79 likes, guys. It only
You
takes a second to hit that thumb. You can hit it with your nose, even. Um, anyway,
goodness.
it's not moving.
No,
It's
I don't
not
know.
moving, and neither am I.
Now, I suppose, Bing's been really good. Maybe you could go get him a chip.
Bing has not been very good. He's been a little stinker. Now he's laying up next to me. I think he wants to go to bed and go under the covers. It's his bedtime, but we shall see.
Oh, wait a
Lunar
minute.
Wolf, why don't you come up? Come on up, Lunar. Come and talk, or D someone. Eddie, one of you. All you have to
Come
do
on,
is
Dee.
hit the link under Funky's Bills the Tea right there, StreamYard. It tells you what to do. You can turn off your camera so we don't see you. It's very easy. Very easy. We're at 88. Well, we've gone up. How much have we gone up? 20 something? There's 90. 10
Nice.
more. 10 more. Let's get to 100 and then we can move
Well,
on.
hopefully we'll attract some more people in here.
Even if you hit the hearts, it brings people in. When you hit the hearts, it makes the chat get more people to see and
We
such
had a
like that.
we had 260 people in our chat last night. That is
Hmm.
amazing.
We only had about 180 maybe at the most early. Um,
Right.
Right.
91, nine more people. Hit the like button. Come on. Hit the hearts. Get the hearts going. Let's get some people in here. I know you think it's crazy, but it's easy. It's our little break time right now, actually.
Yeah. Um, hey girls, there was a I'm gonna call you girls because you're not old. I'm like squinting at this ant-sized chat little box down here, and I was able to read a comment that I think Dee made earlier about
Hmm.
making this something positive, and maybe somebody we need somebody needs to lobby for a Timmy's law that would prevent social media from this kind of thing happening again.
From
Maybe
exploitation of a family.
yeah, of the
Yep.
vulnerable people, handicapped
Yep.
people, vulnerable people. But that is an excellent idea. Some of you West Virginians on this chat, you need to. What's your capital? Charleston? What's the capital of West Virginia? I don't know.
No,
I don't know why Charleston pops in my mind.
I think Charleston's in Virginia, isn't it?
I don't. I was thinking West Virginia.
Right.
6 more likes. 5 more likes. Yes, it is a shame that people want to profit off these people. And that's why we're talking about it. So that it doesn't continue. People like them aren't hurt anymore.
Oh, you're right. It is. It is Charleston.
I don't know why. I guess fourth grade never left me. We had to learn all the capitals, and I'll never forget that. We had to memorize them. Um, but some of you West Virginians in the chat, you need to get to Charleston, call your representatives, get some people up there lobbying for a Timmy's Law. That's how these things come into um, effect. This is a good example to use that we need a law like that. I think you'll probably get a lot of support for it.
Right.
That's a great idea.
And who are some of the local mayors or representatives in the area? Write them, have them come out, take a look at what's going on in their own community. Make them be accountable for what's going on around them. That's horrible.
Cases just like this one. Um, how this family, even APS dropped the ball too. There's so many things that we need to say, hey, whoa, we're not having, this can't continue. We can't, we have to be accountable. And our politicians are the way to get accountability, but they have to be accountable as well. So it starts with two people, you know phone calls, letters. That a Timmy's Law would be, if that could come out of this whole experience, it would keep other people from this type of thing happening to them as well.
5 more likes, guys. Only 5 more likes. I'm going to get a drink. Well, do you think we're going to get to 5 more likes?
I'm
Sure, we
hoping
are.
so. I
What?
believe it will.
You believe so?
I believe.
I believe there's one. 4 more. I believe
Very cool.
4 more. Come on, guys. Share it out. Get somebody else to come in. That's what we should do, is share it out. If you know somebody who likes talking about the Whittakers and likes the whole experience of what's
Yeah.
happening and wants things to change, share out the page. We got 2 more likes to come in and then we can go on.
It's a place you can come and you can voice your opinion. You know, you might not agree with mine, I might not agree with yours, but we're communicating, we're talking, and that's where things start, and that's how change eventually happens.
There we go. 101. Yay!
Good job.
Good job. All
Thank you,
right.
Jody Ann, and hello.
Where
Jody,
were we
there's
now?
somebody, Jody Ann, said hi, everyone. She hit the like button.
Thank you, Jody. Let's see. Where were we? Um, I read Havasus. They've been there all their lives.
Hang on.
Betty comes from this family too. I think Betty is getting too much flack. Imagine. Oh, I read that one already. I read those. Let's see. Keep in mind, Eric has no contact with his older child or children. That's why he started the dad talk. I have a feeling they all are more miserable and traumatized now. Apparently, 1,200 YouTubers called APS. Thank you, quiet. I'm a retired. Okay, we did that. Did that. If they were my neighbor, Stoney said, as a mandated reporter, I would have to report it. That's true. If you're a mandated reporter, you do have to.
I
Kaleidoscope.
think, I
Go.
think I'm sorry. I think that mandated reporters are essential. But I also think as human beings, we need to be reporters if we know that there is abuse going on.
Mm-hmm. Kaleidoscope. I agree about Betty. She's always done what she could, but maybe it was just getting too much. Kitty says Betty has never left home. She was born in an incestuous family. I feel sorry for her. No way Betty could care for all three. Either she did her best. Funky, I'm still waiting for the surprise, says Ellie Mae. Moni, in God's hands, I don't think it's right that Eric completely washes his hands when times get tough. He needs to stick it out. Kitty says, I worked in a subacute unit, and me and one other girl took care of 30 patients in an hour shift. Showers, shaved, PT, breakfast, lunch, potty, and naps. Holy cow. Thank you for doing that, Kitty. Shark Lane, Eric is burnt out. Tenacity for the truth. Eric went on and on about how much he loves Timmy and wanted to protect him. Yet he left him there that night with BJ, knowing he would be at risk of her retaliation for calling her a biche on camera. Kitty Lover, right? Betty should never have had to do that by herself. She needed help years ago, says Ellie. Mitch, they might give them anti anxiety medication and hopefully something for pain, inflammation. Havasu, would it be priority to get help for Ray if he needs 3 caregivers instead of going away with Timmy? Diane Frank, why don't you come up on the panel? Larry and Kenny should have kept Ray clean. Right, Ellie? Kitty says. Ray isn't easy. She did bathe and dress Lorraine. Kenny got Ray spiffed up. Betty isn't there all there either. The whole thing saddens me. It could have been done differently. Eddie says, you really think Patrick is going to be given custody?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
I think Patrick's delusional thinking that he'll get custody. What I hope not, because I'm probably going to come to West Virginia and Lottie and Charleston. I mean, who gives
Right.
custody to someone who has got probation last month for
Right.
Yes.
distributing photos of his girlfriend? A list.
Uh-huh.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yes.
Inappropriate photographs
And
and
Yes.
stalking
let me,
and all the other things that he's done. I don't think so. If and I don't know
Right.
where these people are coming up with. Patrick said he needed $3,500 to get Timmy. They don't charge you to get.
Yeah, exactly. There's conditions, but there's no dollar signs with those.
Yeah, it sounds like
that's how
he's.
much it is for him to clean up where he is. You know,
Right.
It's going to cost more than $3,500 to fix that house. I can promise you
Oh,
that.
please. Yeah.
I know. Let's see. I'm going to read someone's comment again because it's important. When things like this happen, I wish we could turn this negative into a positive, like create Timmy's Law, a law preventing social media platforms from allowing content using disabled or vulnerable. Yep. Lunar Wolf. Patrick is not going to get guardianship of the Lorraine, Timmy, and Ray, according to some of the information I've been looking up and research. And he's going to be getting charges pressed against him. D says, my husband is sleeping, or I'd love to go up. Oh, just go in the other room, D. Um, Moni says, Eric stated that Patrick pled guilty for sexual assault. There's no way they would give him custody. Eddie says, set up a trip at fund, give them a house, and all the money should be handled by an attorney. D, someone, I love that idea. It's supposedly in a trust to TG Chicago. Kristen says, Eric, on one of his recent lives today, said there are sexual offenders around there, and one of them is a Whittaker. I wonder which one. So Eric is a bigger guy, still putting that out there. Just seems spiteful. Good night, America, says Eddie. They all want to milk the cow till there is no milk. See, Kristen, I heard that too. Charleston says Sprinkles the Clown. Oh, I love that name. Shame on anyone who wants to profit on these people. Right? Had there been such a law, none of this would have happened to the Whittaker family. Charleston is another. He is spiteful, baby Kirsten. Ugh, I'm going to keep my mouth closed. Um, Charleston is the capital of West Virginia. Kristen, he's referring to Jason Whittaker, who is the nephew of Betty and them. He was interviewed by Mark and used to live at the house Patrick lives in now. Kitty says there should be a Zion's Law, Angela's Law, Timmy's Law. All these vulnerable people um, being used for profit. It's sickening. Filthy says everyone is saying Betty's parents buried gold or money on the property before they passed away. Everyone is talking about going there and snatching it. Um, Filthy
I'm
ain't
not
house
sure that
leave
Betty's parents
them
with
alone.
16 children, and I'm not sure what they did for a living, but I don't think they might have buried a jar of money, but I don't think it would be a lot of money. And people don't need to go up there treasure hunting.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Anyway, I got metal detectors. Yeah.
Let's go. If they go up there doing stuff like that, they might not be coming back out of that place.
Yeah, I hear that the neighbors are very protective.
And they rightfully should be. And if, I'm saying it, and, don't go up there doing that. That's not going to be, that's not, there's nothing good going to come out of that.
Um, let's see. I'd rather donate to getting something like that going, says G. If you've never been to West Virginia, you would be surprised to see how many people live like this there. West Virginia really doesn't do well with taking care of women, kids, and the elderly.
No,
Filthy says, I'll go on.
no, I was just going to say she's absolutely right. West Virginia, especially in that area, in some of those areas, are very socioeconomically depressed areas, rampant drug abuse. There, there seems a lot of the kids just don't see a way out. And there's not a lot of jobs in some of those areas after the coal industry basically left, and it's not. It's a bad. It's a depressing. It can't be good in some of those areas. So that's exactly right, and I'm sure that there are people there that live. I hope not. The houses. I mean, you can be poor, but you can be clean. But probably
Right.
some of the houses and stuff is not. It's probably as bad as the Whitakers. So sad.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh,
Kathy, you're funny. You're funny, Kathy. I love you, but you're funny.
what? Did you read the slap your mama?
No, I didn't read that one.
No, Kathy.
She said, I'll drop it like it's hot if you hit that like button. Funky'll drop it like it's hot. He needs to do the shuffle
Joseph for
tonight.
surprise.
He needs to do the
Right.
shuffle. Let's see where we were. Oh, Dee said, I'm still on the road driving to a family emergency. Oh, okay. Well, he can't drop it like it's hot. Mm. Twanat says Eric would know the legal avenues to go down to advocate for Timmy's Law. That's what he does for dads.
Um, are there any legal people here? Anyone that has any kind of background? Someone that could give us just a few seconds of
Yeah, someone who works
suggestion?
in
Which
social
direction?
services, or maybe social workers.
If they get mail, UPS, FedEx, delivery, have they not seen anything over the decades to report anything? That's what Dee said. Haunted
They're
coyote.
not the only family, though, y'all. Sorry, I don't mean to like just, but seriously, they're not the only family that's up there in that kind of predicament. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
I I'm sure there's probably more. We just don't hear about it because they haven't made it to the internet.
Well,
I don't know.
people will be searching for
Speculating.
them now. They're looking for the next cash cow. There'll be YouTubers looking for them. Trust me. Buried
Absolutely.
treasure on the Whittaker property. Let's go dig it up. Yeah. Funky, be safe. Funky, love you. Stay safe. Love you. Funky prayers. Kenny drinking a lot of beer. Neither man is able to get custody. He wasn't convicted of stalking, says Chris. Kirsten says, after tonight, I think I need a break talking about this. Praying for Lorraine, Timmy, and Ray. Tenacity for the truth. Hunted coyotes. I do not believe that it was an outside person that AR'd because oops, is too severely affected. It could have been any one of the Whittakers who was living at the time. Where did Patrick say that he needed 3,500? Lady says it's a shame Mark nor Eric pushed qualified people to help. CNAs come in and help, etc. Mental health specialists.
Oh, Chris Cloud says that down in the bottom of the chat. It says, I'm a private investigator. I exclusively do family law, and I spend a lot of time in West Virginia due to personal situation. He could come up.
Yeah, why don't you
Please
come up, please? I need to take a little break for a second, guys. So handle the chat.
go ahead. We're here. Where did you leave off? Shoot, Mike.
Chris Cloud, do you want to come up and talk a little bit with us? You sound like you would have a lot of good information you could share. We would love to hear your perspective, and you probably know more. I mean, it would be good to hear somebody who knows about this and who's familiar with the area. We'd love for you to come up and talk.
Please.
He says he doesn't want to have to dig out his microphone on my computer.
Hmm.
You can use your telephone if you have a
Yeah, you can
smartphone.
use your phone and some earbuds. It works great. So he just put the link up. If you could use your phone, we'd love to hear from you.
Hmm.
All right, give me a second.
You're fine.
I'm fine.
I finally figured out where we were because I'm so busy going this way and that way.
Oh, I'm getting tired too. Oh,
Right?
yep. I don't
Hey,
want to
Chris.
be up till 11:30 today. That's for sure.
Okay, Chris
Uh,
Cloud says, "Give me a minute. I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going back and forth on a report." So it sounds like you might be planning on coming up.
Well, good. Um,
perfect. Thank you.
let me
Please.
see. Um, it was a nightmare for Timmy's mom, says Hunted Coyote. If Patrick goes for guardianship, all Eric has to do is show the condo video he took, right? Probably.
Right.
Um, Let's see. Ow, ow. Um, Lady, a new home will not fix generational trauma. Mike says it's clear to see Kenny is the daddy. Just compare them side by side. Lady K, no one in their right mind would work with them in that filth, says Chicago. 106 likes. Yay. Keep hitting the like. Jason Whittaker is on the SA registry. The like button is free and painless. Um, Jason is the offender, says Chris. In my opinion, Patrick looks a lot like Timmy if you look at the two of them.
They do
Wow.
look alike sometimes. That's true. They do. A little, I think so.
TG, you could be right about that. To be honest, says Lady K. Patrick should be on the registry too, says Mike. I'm so heartbroken, says Jody Ann. If I were CNA and walked in that house, I'd turn around and leave, says Chicago. Chris says their father hurt his back as a co-worker. He had not worked in many years before he passed. D says if there was some gold buried there, BJ and her kids, along with Larry, would have found it by now. Um, Seems to me be several in here trying to start rumors without any bias whatsoever, says Ellie Mae. Um, Tenacity at D. Someone I don't believe the crap about the somehow I don't believe the crap about the condo. Eric would have shown this supposed video and the huge bill. He would have been charged for the supposed 3 days of cleaning and replacement of the couch. Moni, hygiene was completely unsanitary, but they understand that all they want to do is be together as a family. Moni, that's right, says Fernan. And Eddie, TG is right. We do not talk politics here. It saves the chat from issues. Eddie, my uncle is an attorney, Eaton Beaver. He is located in Richmond. Chris, I'm a private investigator, exclusively do family law, and spent a lot of time in West Virginia due to a personal situation. Please come on up. Please. Living in squalor is one thing. If it's by choice, Timmy, Ray, and Lorraine have no choice or even a voice. Um, it's heartbreaking for Lorraine and Ray, and will not survive this, and will die terrified and heartbroken. Maybe not. That's kind of all the way to the left. Let's hope not. Um, let's see. Jenny, yes, I'm worried. Hoping it's all lies. Guess time will tell. Pamela, we don't talk about that subject anymore. Eddie, you give them a new home and it will be totaled in less than 6 months. They don't know how to live and need help. That's only if they don't have help while they're in the new home. If they got the proper help, it may be a little better. Okay, there's a question for anyone who knows. Will they do any DNA type tests on Timmy for genetics? Says D. What do you think?
I think they might if they think that he has some sort of a condition that could be genetic. Um, that would be likely if they were trying to find out
Mm-hmm.
what's wrong with some of them. I think they might on Ray because he has some bone issues.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I, and Timmy's little feet. I don't know if y'all saw the video where Eric was buying him shoes, and his little toes are just all bent. Uh, for his age, unnaturally bent. So there may be some issues, and that
A
could
lot of
possibly
that,
be
though,
something.
A lot of that though is not having the proper shoes when they're younger,
That
and
could be true.
Right.
him not
That's
being able to speak and tell them that his shoes hurt. You know,
uh-huh.
and I know that getting shoes is a big deal, right? So
Yep.
I I know a lot of people who have hammer toes because of that. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
His toes were just when I looked at them, it was I think it may have been more than just improper fitting shoes.
okay.
Um, so I mean I don't know, it could be from shoes, but it did not look I mean I know it affects the way he walks. It has to.
I'm filling my water up, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Got a drink. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I know with my son having the proper shoes was important to me, so I always made sure he had the right shoes. And the stinker ended up with size 15 feet.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
dear Lord.
I kept letting him have room, I guess.
I
It's
bet you
like,
had to special order his shoes when he was a
oh,
teenager.
I bought a lot of shoes on eBay, let me tell you. Basketball
Damn
shoes.
mortgage payments
Mm.
instead of shoes.
You could get
That's a whole
them.
house.
Oh my God, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. Big feet, big hands. Funky has big hands. I don't know if he has big feet like my son's, but yeah, it was fun. Nobody ever wanted to borrow his shoes in basketball, that's for sure. Um, let's see. When I got my BC, they did a genetic test and it was the genes. It was in the genes. I didn't have a choice when they tested me. It's why I wonder if they will test Timmy. Was that the BRCA gene?
Mm,
That's a crazy gene. Yep. I've done genetic testing for a couple of different things, and they did it in the hospital too on my blood for stuff, and that's how I found out I was a rapid metabolizer.
really?
Excuse me.
Yeah, the hospital did it. They asked if they could test my blood when I did,
Uh-huh.
and I said sure because I'm into that stuff. And yeah, I
Right.
found out I'm a rapid metabolizer, and a lot of medicines don't work for me.
Oh,
Yeah, they're like candy. I burn through them. And then there's others that I can't have, like
right.
that Humira for some reason. I can't have that. Not that I need it, but it's
Right.
one that's
But
red flagged, you know? So,
right.
Mima, I'm just curious. How do you do with the dentist? Are you just like just regular numbing?
no, I take a ton of money numbing medication. They have
So,
to give me Novocaine like crazy because I feel
yeah,
it really deep in my
uh,
yeah.
yeah, I metabolize or get rid of. It's like they don't give me anything. I have to have Marcaine, which is a
Right,
much stronger and it lasts. You know,
right.
you're numb forever. But to give me Novocaine is just like giving me water.
Well,
So I
the
wonder if I
difference
need to get a gene test like that.
the I asked for Marcane actually for deeper stuff because of that reason.
I have to have it.
And seriously, Marcane doesn't last very long for me either.
It it doesn't me
Maybe
either.
four
It
hours.
does.
And
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like eight. This will last 8 hours. No, it doesn't. Not for
It
me.
lasts me 3 to 4 hours.
Right, right.
Oh
And
wow.
Wow.
they'll think I'll be numb for hours and I won't. And if they use regular Novocaine, by the time I get home, maybe I'll have a half an hour with numbness and that's it because I burn real fast. But yeah.
Wow. I didn't know there was anybody that did that but me. Oh, I'm sorry
But
that you're.
on the other opposite end, my cousin goes to the dentist and doesn't get any Novocaine at all.
How can you do that? I
She's
don't even.
crazy.
Oh
She's crazy.
gosh.
She doesn't have the nerves I have because my nerves are crazy. But yeah, I know it's nuts, right?
Yeah.
Yep. But my mother, when she was little, they didn't have Novocaine, and when the dentist came, and the dentist would come to town where my mother was, and he would do all the people in a few days, and he didn't have any Novocaine when he did everybody.
My
So
gosh, that's torture.
I know, right?
Seriously.
I know. It's
And see,
crazy.
when I was coming up, as a kid, I would go to the dentist, and if I had a cavity, they would fill it, and I would be in torture there in the chair, and I would kick the dentist, and the dentist smacked me. I mean,
Wow.
that,
He
dentist
smacked
people,
you?
yeah, he smacked me.
Wow.
And I mean, this was a long time ago before, people, you
Uh-huh.
know, I don't even know my mother ever knew about it. And I don't know if I told her, but he smacked me. And I'm like, I'm dying here. And I kicked him. And he
See,
smacked me.
PG, the state might not go through all that, but the hospitals might because they're doing a lot of genetic testing now. It's part of their protocol. So,
Wow.
yeah, they do a ton of it. And it it depends on the hospital too, if it's a state hospital or, a
Right.
private hospital, but the state hospitals, mine is, they do a ton of it.
Wow.
So, and I think it's
Well,
really cool, the stuff that you learn about yourself. And, you know, they're they're learning more and more about different genes every time they do this testing. So they find out more, like
yeah.
the rapid
Uh-huh.
metabolizer stuff. That was years ago, and then I found out something else about the next thing I found out was the reason why I couldn't take any cholesterol medication is because
Mhm.
I have a gene that makes me react to it horribly. So
Jeez.
I can't, you know, I can't take any of it. And I didn't for a long time. Now I don't need it because I don't have that
Right.
issue anymore. But yeah, it's crazy the stuff that they're learning. And it's so interesting. So
I think in the
Wow.
next 10 years, even, that most medical conditions will be treated with gene therapy. I really do.
I do too. I really do.
I think that's what we're
Well,
gearing,
let's
that's
hope
what's going
so.
to happen. And, that would be great if some of these diseases that people have, rather than having to be chronically ill and, take
Hmm.
medications, could that would be
That'd be
awesome.
fantastic.
Um, Katie says, I had genetic testing as well for a pulmonary embolism, no known cause, in 2017. Good night, Funky family. I'm really tired, says Kathy. Good night. We love you.
Good night, Kathy.
Funky, what did he say? After I do a dance for you guys when I get back from this trip, I'm taking a while off from this. Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay.
And Kathy said, Diane says, I don't blame you, Funky. It's expensive. Um, Fernand says, Kathy, good night. Timmy is very, very tiny. He looks to be barely 4 foot tall, and his head is extremely small. It's very
Eric,
Hmm.
noticeable in
yeah,
photos, says
I
Tinashe.
think he's 4'9".
Hmm.
Wow.
He's a little guy.
Yeah, he is. Carol says probably gave them whiskey back in the day. You never know. Um, Maybe there is some fetal alcohol syndrome with some of them that isn't talked about. That was
More than likely.
back in those days, alcohol was the drug of choice, and a lot of people were alcoholics. Now it's not.
Well,
I mean, it's prevalent, but it's not as prevalent as drugs are. That's for
right. Well, shoot, moonshine.
right. Kitty, my grandma had 7 kids. She give birth while working on the farm right in the fields. Crazy work. I have a high pain tolerance. You are lucky. Eddie says my grandmother would boil ragweed to cure stomach ulcers. My grandmother, great grandmother, would grab slippery elm to stop people from having diarrhea. She made,
Really.
yeah, she
My
made tea.
mother-in-law, my mother-in-law had an ulcer, and right when she was going in to have them take care of it, somebody had told her to drink aloe vera juice. And she
Mm-hmm.
really, I mean, it was so expensive back then. It's so much cheaper now. So
Mm-hmm.
she did. When she went in for the procedure, it was gone.
Wow.
Wow.
She healed. She healed her ulcer with the aloe vera.
They
Well,
did.
back in the day, that's all we had. That's all there was. And people used,
Mhm.
know all the barks and all the plants and things, and they had to, they knew what
Mhm.
helped what. And a lot of our
Mhm.
medications today are still made from some of those things, but that knowledge is getting lost for so many people, and
I
that's a
know.
shame. And it's really, really interesting to read about all these things.
Right.
Yeah, they used to grab my great grandmother and my grandmother because they lived in the wilderness. And when people were having babies, they would go and help, because there
Right.
weren't any midwives or anything.
Hmm.
Mhm.
How do you cure your diabetes? I don't have it, but I heard that cinnamon is something a lot of people who have diabetes use.
Mhm.
I don't know if it cures it, but I think it might help it. But that's the only thing I know about diabetes with natural remedies.
I've had friends that were all on insulin and taking pills and whatnot. They got their levels all straightened out and were able to come off of the medication.
Mm.
A lot of times, if
I've seen that.
with type 2 diabetes, um,
Mhm.
and even some adults with insulin dependent diabetes. Now, juvenile diabetics, they're going to have to be insulin dependent
Right.
all their lives.
Pretty much.
But if you
Right.
exercise, if you exercise and get some of the extra weight off, and keep the exercise up and
Hmm.
watch what you're eating, a lot of people
Mhm.
are able to come off of all diabetes medications.
And a lot
Right.
of people are doing that fast where they won't eat until noon
Mhm.
or something.
Mhm.
Um, and
My
then they
sister
stop eating
and
at
my
7
nephew.
or something like that. They do that?
Yes, that intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Right.
Um, let's see. Carol, can you imagine how awful for Lorraine to be assaulted, become pregnant, and give birth with limited communication? How awful.
I
It
know.
is. I mean, if you can imagine that, that had to be traumatic for her. But you know what is, it keeps going through my mind. Who assaulted her? They had given a name at one time of some man in the community, and it, some people had done some research on that person, and it, he was, it could have been, put it that way. But everybody says, hey, Timmy looks just like Kenny. If it were to be Kenny, can you imagine having to live with the person that assaulted you? That is sick. That is horrible.
Yeah.
If it could have
Exactly.
been him.
Do you know
I
how many
mean,
times that happens more than not, though?
yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, and her being nonverbal and having nowhere else to go, no, nothing. And a lot of families, you just don't talk about that stuff. And if the family knew that, they probably just swept it under the rug, and you don't talk about it.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
everybody goes on, it's like pass the beans, please. Uh,
Right.
but the person who was assaulted having to live with the person who assaulted you has got to be one of the worst things in the world.
Gosh.
Absolutely.
Yep.
D says, I'm allergic to ragweed. The thought is already making my throat itchy. Yeah, I am allergic to ragweed too, so I couldn't do any of that tea. Um, Tenacity, in one of the question and answers, when Larry and Betty were asked if they always got along, she said yes, except during that sexual stuff. Hmm.
Wonder what she meant by that.
Yeah, I wonder. Everyone tries to cash in on it. What a shame on you. Well, we're not trying to cash in on it, Nick. We're talking about it and having a rational discussion. So if you want to stay, then I would not talk like that and just come in and blast. It's not a good thing. Lunar says, I was diabetic. I'm diabetic. I do that intermittent fasting, and I take Trulicity because my medical card will not cover Ozempic.
She meant intermittent. Her Google
Yeah,
made her say instrument. I
yeah,
don't like when Google does that.
yeah. I read it wrong.
Uh,
Sleep good, kitty. Good night, sweet kitty. Sleep well. Thank you, Dee. Well, it's 11 o'clock. I'm tired.
I
Where
am
It's
too.
it's 1 o'clock at my house, so I'm gonna get
Oh
off
Lord.
here.
I think we
I,
should cut it early tonight.
yeah, I have to get some sleep. I've had like 4 hours sleep all
Oh
since
no.
Sunday, so I'm gonna
No.
go. And it's again,
Mm,
ladies, it's been a pleasure.
And
And the chat, thank you so much for your comments and the interaction. It's been great, and I hope everyone has a wonderful night. And I will talk to you all soon.
well,
thank
you
you.
get off of here and go straight to bed. Do you hear
I
me?
am. I am. I have to
Okay.
because this morning was not pretty. I was like, you
No.
know, I said I
Right.
gotta wake up. Gotta wake up. But anyway,
Oh,
thank you guys, and
thank
y'all have a
you.
great night. Okay, bye.
You too.
Bye
See you
bye.
again. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Well, sister,
I know, sister.
I'm going to bed. I'm tired.
Yeah, I think we need to. Who's gonna tell us goodnight? Funky is on the road. Are we just gonna shut down?
Well, maybe he can stop and look in the mirror, I guess, or he might just
Right?
shut it down. I don't know. Walking by Faith says, you are all great. Thank you for your faithfulness and keeping us updated. God bless you and good night. Oh, I love you, love.
Oh, thank you. I know.
You are a
Goodness,
sweet person, and I hope all the blessings are returned to you.
me too.
Oh.
Jesus freak. Good night.
Somebody
Love you too.
block spoon.
What?
TG, if
Um,
you're in blocks,
I gotta jump down.
with
Oh,
three.
Fernand. Fernand. Hmm.
There you go. I took care of it.
Good. Thank you.
Um,
Uh,
Good night, everyone. Have a blessed evening. Dream well. Got some good rum in there. Drink a
yeah.
lot of water before you go to bed so you're hydrated in the morning. And
Yeah.
be kind to one another. Remember,
Absolutely.
everyone is going through something.
Yes. Yes, we are. I hope you rest. I
I
really
hope you
do.
rest too. I know.
Yes, thank you. I know that waking up at 2 and 3 and
Yeah,
it's
it's
getting
fun.
old.
I can't remember
But
if I fed the dogs tonight or not, but I
oh,
think I didn't. So I'm going to have to go feed them because they're okay, but I think they're hungry. So I will talk to you all tomorrow
yes.
and we shall see you. I don't know about tomorrow afternoon. I will
Right.
text you about that.
Yeah, let me know. Yes, absolutely.
All right. All right. Love you guys. Bye.
Love you all too. I'm just gonna say a couple things here and I'll be on my way too. Um, Diane Gardner, we don't know what happened to Bad Betty. She just kind of left tonight. I don't know. I guess we'll have to catch up with her and see what happened. So, oh yes, Fernand, I thought you were saying goodnight. All right. So everyone, good night. Love you all. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you, every single one of you. And I'm going to turn my covers down now and climb between them. And everyone that knows me is when I do that, it's time. So hope to see you all again. Bye bye.